Wassup Youtube, PokePrimer here, primed and ready to deliver you our Week 10 battle here in Fella. I'm doing this post-com because I was under a time constraint and a lot of things were going on at the time of the actual battle. I just wasn't emotionally, prepared to record, so I didn't do a live com or a face cam because I looked like crap and I felt like crap, and it was just a bad time. So I did not do a live com recording of this, and I apologize for that because I did promise you guys that I would keep these live com as much as I could. But regardless of all that, we did have the battle. As you can see, Jazzy brings I think pretty much the exact same team she brought against me last time. I think the only difference is the Snorlax. I don't believe she brought the Snorlax last time. I mean, let me pull up my papers and everything, because I like to have all of my information, my facts in front of me when I'm doing these things. But, there's this sheet, and then there's the other sheet. Yeah, last time she brought Fernet Bladios, Jellicent, Rotom-Mow, I believe she brought last time is what the big difference is, what the difference was. Yeah, she brought Rotom-Mow last time instead of Snorlax. So Snorlax being here, kind of a bit of a threat, but I do have the Terrakion to handle it, so hopefully we can have that scenario play out where it'll work out for us. So without further ado, we're going to get into this. I'm going to set this to normal speed, because fast speed is very annoyingly fast. So I think I might play this with the music on. Turn the music down on this just real quick, because it is very fucking loud. But you see this very negative scenario where, let's bring it down to there. So we saw the negative opening scenario where she did lead with the Mega Steelix against our Jolteon, and while we do have the HP Water, I could have gone for it there, especially since they did go for the Stealth Rocks first turn. I didn't want to do that, so I did just swap right out into my Latios, as she does go for the rocks. Metallicon switches out and goes into Mavis, the Sylveon, and takes the Surf. So now she knows that I have Surf, which kind of sucks, but we can play around that appropriately, I think. We go out now into the Volcanion here, as she's going to set up a Light Screen. Now, I know her dedicated switch into this thing is Jellicent, so I actually do go for the Sunny Day right here. Go for the Sunny Day, get the sun up nice and pretty like. So now I am primed and ready to go, as she does switch out into the Snorlax on the incoming Solar Beam. I do get a crit, which doesn't really matter all that much, because Snorlax is very especially bulky, and with the light screen up, it's a pretty big issue. She does just go for an Earthquake there, as I go for the Flamethrower. I decide to save my Volcanion for later in the match, as I do switch my Latios in on the Earthquake. As she's now going to go out into her Sylveon, and I predicted this and went for the Psyshock. I figured it was the best overall move to go for. Not a lot of things switch into it nicely, so I did just go for the Psyshock. Two Psyshocks will take out the Sylveon, so now we're starting off with 6-5. She's going to bring out her Latios, and I don't like that matchup, so I do go out into my Assault Vested Hydrangea the Shaman, who gets critted by the Draco Meteor, which just goes to show how bulky this thing is. As I go for an HP Ice on the Latias as she switches in her Jellicent, and I didn't go for a Seed Flare on the Jellicent, as it does, take the Seed Flare relatively well. So this must be a somewhat specially defensive build, but the -2 special defense, she has to switch out. I do miss the Air Slash on the incoming Snorlax, which is kind of big, and then the Seed Flare that follows up was even bigger. The Air Slash Seed Flare combination would have killed the Snorlax 100%, so then we would have still had a Shaman there for usage. I do go into Terrakion, scare out the Snorlax, and I do just go for the Stone Edge, though, to catch the incoming Jellicent. At this point, I do switch out into my Volcanion. I figure, unless if he goes for a Steel-type move, like he would on my Terrakion, potentially I could live it and hit him back hard. He goes for the Roar, actually, which kind of sucks, because now Volcanion's pretty much useless. And it brings in Jolteon, which is another terrible thing. So I do just go for the HP Water for damage. He's definitely a lot... the Metallicon is more special bulky than I thought. So I go out into Latios and I go for a Surf again on the incoming Snorlax. As the Snorlax is going to go for Body Slam on my incoming Scizor. I Mega Evolve here and I go straight for the knockoff. It's definitely the safest play. Even if she brought in the Mega Steelix, we would have been able to kill it with a superpower at some point. But that didn't happen, so I decided there, my thought process there was I wanted to sack off Volcanion. It wasn't doing anything for me at this point, so I kind of figured that it was not the best situation to have it in, so I just decided, it wasn't necessary. So I do go out and just sack it off, and to reveal the Metallicon is Fire Fang, so now I know I can't, unless I can guarantee I can kill it, I can't stay in with Mega Scizor, because now I can go into Latios, and I believe I predicted the Latias to come in, so I do just go for the Ice Beam. And at this point, 2 Ice Beams will take out the Latias, so that's fantastic for us. As now she goes out into her Infernape, as I go out in my Scizor, which is kind of an interesting switch, as she U-turns, which was probably the play that doesn't work out very well for her at all. I just go for the superpower. It misses out on the KO on Metallicana. As I'm sitting here waiting for the potential kill, but she makes the misplay and goes for the Roar, and unfortunately for her, it brings in my Latios. At this point, I can just click Surf. Obviously, Infernape doesn't take it very well, and then I can just take it out on the following turn. And then at this point, Surf will then take out the Mega Steelix and get us the win. 3-0 victory, so we are now sitting at a even 5-5, which is a perfect record in my opinion. I like 5-5. It sounds a lot better than any other record. But 5-5 with a positive 2 differential. We need a 2-0 victory or more for Toby and the Alexandria Altarias in order for us to make playoffs, and hopefully that can happen. We're in the best possible position we can be. And, yeah. If you guys are hyped and hope that we can make playoffs, please make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, I'm PokePrimer, signing